we were seeing various aspects of the Constitution. I've made, I think, nearly 3 to 4 sessions on the Constitution. I also told you that there are 22 parts in the Indian Constitution. We were in the fourth part last time. It's called as Directive Principles of State Policy. Today I thought we will also talk about fundamental duties, which that the fourth part of the Indian Constitution we would be covering. Hopefully, I have done justice to what I have been trying to do. Now, Part 4 of the Constitution, from Article 36 to Article 51, is Directive Principles of State Policy, and Article 51A is Fundamental Duties. Today we will do one thing, we'll very quickly go through Directive Principles of State Policy once more, very fast, because I think some more light has to be thrown on that part of the discussion what we had. In many quarters, these directive principles of state policy, someone can ask why is it necessary when we already have fundamental duties and fundamental rights which are enshrined in the Constitution. Sometimes there would be some kind of an gray area between the human rights part of the Indian Constitution, which we already discussed, the duties according to the Indian Constitution, which we are going to discuss, and the directive principles of state policy. Then why was this directive principles of state policy made? They are just to highlight certain key aspects of the Constitution. Very important. And at the same time, focus on certain things which are a combination of rights, duties, and principles around which a state should run. I don't know if, how many constitutions around the world have got a similar kind of a chapter. I'll have to verify it. Maybe they do not have. But if you ask me, even before you frame duties and rights of individuals within a constitution, you must say that principle of state policy. I think our constitution has got a more elaborate one. The principle should have been condensed to say just 10 points. But still, we will not comment on the wisdom of the people who have gone behind and done great work. But very quickly, I would like to go through the article. See, Article 39, I'm interested, I will go at random, catching about very important parts of the Directive Principles of State Policy. 39A, it says equal justice and free legal aid. Whatever equal justice means. In front of the law, everyone is equal, that's what it means. And you must give free legal aid. Actually, it's a human right. That's why I said many things about in the human rights overlap with that of Directive Principles. Let's perfectly understand that. I will go to more important things. Article 41 of the Indian Constitution, right to work, to education, and to public assistance in certain cases. That means the Constitution guarantees right to work. Now, Article 42, provision for just and human conditions of work and maternity relief. Again, a human right. Article 43, living wage for workers, human right. But it's around this principle that what we call other laws like industrial relation laws have been created. Article 43A, participation of workers in management of industries. 44, uniform civil code for the citizens. Article 49, provision of early childhood care and education to children below the age of 6 years. Childhood care. Most important things. Very good. Article 48 in Directive Principle State Policy, Organization of Agriculture and Animal Husbandry. Article 48A, Protection and Improvement of Environment and Safeguarding of Forests and Wildlife. The environmental law comes from this principle. Anyone who is teaching environmental law must talk about the Constitution before he does anything, because 48A, Protection of Improvement of Environment, Safeguarding of Forests and Wildlife. Article 49, Protection of Monuments. Article 49, Archaeological Survey of India. Article 50, Separation of Judiciary from the Executive. Executive cannot interfere in the functioning of judiciary. Very important directive principle of state policy. A very independent directive principle of state policy. Judiciary and executive must work independently. And Article 51 under directive principle of state policy, again a state policy, promotion of international peace and security. The state must strive to promote international peace and security. Now there is war in Ukraine. We have not taken any sides. We have always been campaigning for peace. So this is in nutshell what is directive principles of state policy, which I've already discussed before, but I am discussing again so that you understand directive principles of state policy. As I said, it overlaps with your duties, and you should always see one thing. You should go through a directive principles of state policy and take 10, if you can do that. Take 10 um, 10 articles which are totally directive principles of state policy and does not overlap with human rights and duties. For example, separation of the judicial and executive is definitely a directive principle of state policy. As I said, well, there's the wisdom of the people who have written the constitution that include certain things so that they get increased protection of environment. Again, directive principle of state policy. It's also a duty of the citizen to protection of the environment. It comes under duty, again, can overlap with duties. With that, I will not talk much about directive principle of state policy. It needs a very detailed, elaborative discussion. But directive principle of state policy, if you ask me, is in a nutshell, tells you what this constitution is all about in a very crisp and more direct manner. Now let us come to Article 4A. As I told you, Constitution has got 22 parts. We are in the fourth part. For fourth part, there are 4 and 4A. 4A is fundamental duties. What a citizen within the country of India should do. What are his duties? As I told you, duty is a right of the state. State can demand this from individuals who are living who are citizens of the country. I will go by that one by one. I think there are some handful of them. I will read them out. That would be a better thing to do. The first duty, to abide by the Constitution, respect the ideals of the institutions, the national flag and the national anthem. Respect for the Constitution, respect for the national flag, respect for the national anthem. The second duty, to cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspire the national struggle for freedom. To struggle and follow the duty of a citizen. They cherish the ideals which inspired our struggle for freedom. The third duty, to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India. Uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India. We must not do anything which threatens the sovereignty of the nation. Now, okay. Now, 4. To defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so. It is the job of the citizen to defend the country, and if you are called to do national service, you must do, again it's a duty. The military can call you to serve under certain conditions, and it's your duty to serve. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very important duty, to promote harmony and spirit of common brotherhood amongst all the people of India, transcending religious, linguistic, and regional or sectional diversities, to renounce practices derogatory to the dignity of women. Women rights, again a human right. But the duty of a citizen, a right wrapped up as a duty. You have to promote harmony, spirit of common brotherhood, irrespective of religion, linguistic and sectional diversities, to renounce practices that are derogatory to the dignity of women. About the dignity of a woman is the duty of citizen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sixth one. To value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. To value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. Seventh one. To protect and improve the natural and environmental forests, lakes, rivers, and wildlife, and to have compassion for living creatures. Compassion for living creatures duty. You cannot hit your vehicle against the dog that is living near your house, which my neighbor has done. It's been limping for the past 10 years. It's walking properly now. You're violating the constitution if you damage even if you do something harmful to any animal near your house. Improve and to have compassion for living creatures. I trap rats in my house. I don't kill them. I release them as much as possible somewhere far away from my house. So I am abiding by the constitution. Very good. Protect and improve the natural environment, including for rivers and compassion. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One. To develop the scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reform. To develop scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reform. Fantastic. 9. To safeguard public property and to abjure violence. You must not damage public property. 10. To strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity so that the nation constantly rises to higher levels of endeavor and achievement. Human right law. Witness duty. To strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity. The Constitution encourages that the duty of every citizen that you should help others also to strive to higher levels of. I follow all these principles. I like myself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11th one. But opportunities for education to his child, parent or guardian, or as the case may be, what between the age of 6 and 14 years, you must give education to your child. If you are not giving education to your child, you are going against the constitution, you're going against your fundamental duty. The law can punish your father and mother if they consciously don't give education to their children. Now, these are the fundamental duties which are quite simple. The state does not expect the moon from the individual. It expects certain very simple things: to be compassionate to others, to not damage public property, to respect the constitution, respect the national anthem, to respect the culture, to respect this freedom struggle, not do anything against sovereignty of the country. You're called upon to do national service, you have to be a part of it. Promote spirit of harmony and brotherhood, to a rich heritage and composite culture, to develop scientific temper. Most important thing. I think it's a very well written duties because it talks of many things. To develop scientific temper, the scientific temper could have been inside the dietary principles of state policy, but they have put it in the duty side. Nonetheless, to develop scientific temper in children, and quest for reform. Not a bad idea. Reform means try to improve. I think I'm one of the ideal citizens of India because I consciously or unconsciously follow all these principles. It also talks of respect for wildlife, respect for animals, and it's the duty of parent or child to give education for children who are between 6 and 14. If you find anyone not doing this, you are violating a duty. Now, it's not a very difficult thing. I hope you have understood. I just try to elaborate on dietary principles of state policy and the fundamental duties. With this, we have finished the part 4 of the Indian Constitution. We have to go to the other parts of the Indian Constitution. Hopefully you are going through them and getting a just an idea of it. What I'm talking is not enough. Actually, you need very detailed discussions, which go to at least 100 hours to really understand the constitution. But there's no harm in making a start in such simple way as I'm talking, so that in bits and pieces you get an absolute understanding of the constitution of India. It is the hard work of many people, and we as a country must be proud that we have a very well written, elaborate constitution, and as much as possible we try to follow it. That is the credit to Indian society. Thank you very much. This is P.O. Subhash from Bangalore, India.